Hey guys, it's Paul here, and today we got to sit down with Reshia Lea. She is one of San Diego's most exciting entrepreneurs, from real estate to branding to business development. She does it all. And today we got to see a deeper and more intimate side of her. We got to learn a little bit more about self-awareness and her life. So I can't wait for you guys to check it out. Here.
Yes, absolutely.
So I was so excited to have you on and just like really, sort of dive a little bit deeper and get to know the Reshia that maybe some people don't know.
Yeah, kind of scared. I'm like, what's he gonna ask me?
Well, everyone's like, where should we start?
Right.
The beginning.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Reshia as a child.
Yes. So a lot of people don't know I have a twin brother.
Yeah.
Right?
I know.
Like random.
How do I not know?
I know, right? He actually is like, how do people not know that? You know what I mean? It's just, I guess when you're, live in business, you don't really talk too much about
family.
Yeah, about personal stuff. But he is he's my twin, he's my best friend. So
he lives here?
Yes, he lives in San Diego.
Wow.
When he moved to Taiwan for a little bit, I think I died a little bit when he was gone for a year, and it was actually the worst year ever. But yeah, we have a lot in common. So childhood is, I just remember growing up with a best friend, which was really cool. Fought a lot, of course, like every sibling would.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's like to not have a twin. So when people are like, what's it like to have a twin? I don't know any other world.
Yeah.
And so I kind of treat my two kids that are not twins, they're 2 years apart, like they're twins. Like everything has to happen for them at the same time. Like if one gets this, the other one does. Because I'm just so used to things being so equal. I don't even know how to think differently.
I couldn't even imagine that life.
Right.
Where things were equal.
I know. Birthdays, everything. Like everything was just, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So knowing like that twin, right? Like knowing that's all you know.
Yeah.
What kind of connection would you say you guys have now that is it different than when you were younger?
Right. I think I've always kind of like stepped into the older role because I think, girls always, I don't want to, can I say that? They develop sooner, right? So no offense, boys. But yeah, so he's just kind of we've always had like the same path, but then it's at like different timing. It's kind of weird.
Oh.
So like down to like everything in our life, it's just been kind of funny.
What does he do?
He is I guess he's more of like the education side of real estate. When I say I guess, because I want to make sure that I say it the right way. So he's involved in like flipping homes and really educating that side of it.
So he's literally in the same industry?
Yeah, he's in real estate as well. And people love that. They think it's hilarious. And then he started after I did. I really wanted him to get his license, but.
Do you guys work together ever?
We kind of like collaborate. Okay. So I guess we don't really officially work together. It's been my mom's dream that we would work together. Yeah. But yeah. Well,
that's crazy.
She still brings it up all the time.
So growing up, twin.
Yeah.
Best friend.
Yep.
Then what happens?
Yeah. So then let's see. We've got, I have 2 sets of parents. So my parents are divorced. And then, so that's kind of cool. You can look at the positive side of it where you have 2 sets of parents loving you. I am also my mom's best friend, or she's my best friend too. Wow. So just really, really tight-knit family. My brother was raised by me, is what I say, even though my mom had a lot to do with it. We joke around and say like, well, he was raised by 2 women. I was out of the house when I was 18. I fell in love with my husband at 18. Yeah. And was out of the house. And so I don't actually know the transition of, I don't want to say that I feel left out or anything, but no. I didn't get the whole like living with a bunch of girls. I didn't go to an actual college. I went to a community college, and then I started selling real estate right away. So I know no other career except for being an entrepreneur, being a businesswoman. I say that the reason why I'm so irresponsible with money is because when you're getting $15,000 checks when you're 19 years old, like,
Yeah.
why would you even?
No one
like,
teaches you.
Yeah, my mom really taught me, but I just lost it all because you're just not used to doing that at a young age.
Do you notice the difference when you're like talking with friends, right? Like old friends.
Yeah.
That you actually are a different person now.
Yeah, well, I would say that a lot of my friends are older. So a lot of my friends, so my husband is 11 years older than me too. And everybody in my sphere, like it's like recently this year I've started hanging out with people more my age. And I think it's because I've just always kind of been at this level of mindset, even though I was super messed up in my 20s. But I would say that now I'm actually hanging out with people that are my age and then still up. Like my friends are anywhere from my age to in their 50s. I just really, I get so much value, I think, out of their journey and their their maturity. I don't know.
It doesn't matter, I feel like, the older you get, right? Like,
it really doesn't.
You don't
yeah.
see that anymore.
Yeah.
But
and real estate has always been an older, like demographic.
100%.
Yeah, because I mean, my challenge when I was 19, calling people or showing up at someone's listing appointment, like I was, I'm half Filipino. So when I was 19 selling real estate, I actually looked like I was 12, and everybody was like, "You are not gonna sell my house right now," So it's like I had that extra challenge of actually trying to convince people that I was smart. Wasn't as smart as I am today, but yeah, I've always tried to act older than I am, and
it's worked, right?
Yeah, and then now it's like when I'm around young people or people my age, I'm like, I'm so not cool,
No.
I'm so old.
So I want to go back to something you said because we just sort of jumped by it.
Oh
20s.
boy. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tell me
Hot
about
mess.
the 20s.
Yeah. So everyone always says, not everyone, my mentors, they all said like in your 20s, it's just like 20s are a hot mess. That's when you actually go through the most change. You kind of figure out who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And I never dealt with anything in my childhood. It was just kind of like, I feel like I dealt with it, but never really did. And there wasn't anything. It was normal teenager stuff.
Yeah.
And I, going into real estate and then creating the success that I did, I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know how to not be like a proud person. I think a lot of people don't know this, but I feel like I was a very proud person. I was very mean, maybe not to anyone's face, but I remember getting phone calls and I would be like, not even knowing who it is. My phone would ring. Just the fact that my phone would ring, I was so overwhelmed and unable to handle anything that it was actually painful. The success was painful. I would have checks in my wallet that I would never even cash. I was just like a mean person. Like I would eventually.
Yeah.
But it was just like I didn't know how to handle all of that.
Why do you think anger came so quick?
I think because I didn't really know who I was, and I thought that my success would create happiness, and it didn't. And so I was constantly searching. And so when you create something that you think is going to bring you joy and it doesn't bring you value, it actually creates the opposite. It makes you more depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. You know, like we're all searching, I think, for like I mean, what I always talk about, right? Like creating that life we deserve.
Yes.
But there's a cost with it, right? Like you might deserve it in your head, but the experience of actually having it is very different. Totally. And I think there was obviously like some kind of alignment that wasn't there, right? Like, and you sort of identified it with like, I didn't know who I was yet.
Right. I tried to find value from working as hard as I did, and you're just not going to get value from there. I would try and, the things I learned were, I try and find value from the leaders at my company. So if they would say I did a good job, then I did a good job. If they didn't, then I didn't do a good job. So I actually found my value from words that were spoken into me, and that's dangerous.
Finding your value outside of yourself is never a good idea.
Right, yeah. And I actually just learned that recently, the funny thing. So for the longest time, I've been seeking that.
What do you think changed? How did you change that?
I realized that I couldn't keep going like this anymore, and why I put so much value on not getting recognition. And I don't mean like a public recognition, but I just mean like a thank you, or hey, that was a good job, I really appreciate that, or just some sort of like value add to whatever I did, of like stamp of approval. Like, we're gonna go with Risha's idea, but they don't even have to say it to anybody. It was just one-on-one to me. And when I realized that that wasn't happening and that was creating this void, I had to look at it and go, why is there such a void there?
And how did you realize that?
By asking myself that. I also, I mean, if we probably just want to back up more. So when I was in that really bad place in my 20s, I was trying to find value in work. I would work, still no value. My marriage was falling apart because when anything that you invest your time into, that's what's going to be the most successful. So I wasn't investing my time into my husband or my kids. So that was falling apart. Everything around me, my friendships were falling apart. And I just couldn't keep going like that. So I actually quit that job. I had to leave that work environment. And I, took some time off by creating a brokerage.
That's a little
Which
bit of
you
time
can
off. Yeah.
But it allowed me to go, like, I'm going to have complete control over this and just redesign real estate.
Did you feel like at that time when this happened that you recognized, I'm coming from this life where I don't have a toxic, no control?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to build something that is 100% control.
Yes.
Do you think at that time you honestly saw those as they were?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, I did. Because that was the whole point of doing it. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to create a safe space for other people like me to come to. And I did attract a lot of, people like me. I did. So.
How quickly did you see a change?
I would say things were going great, and I saw it. I mean, I had success within a year, and then we grew it out to like 25 agents. We were in a great location. The logo and the name got so big that I had a dispute with it, and I had to shut it down. And then I got hired on as a manager. And then this is what I really want to share. When I had no control over my environment, and I got tossed into the real world again. It's like going from private school to public school.
Yeah.
I got tossed into the real world, and I was so influenced by everybody outside, that was now my leaders, that I lost my identity again. So my hair was different. I changed my hair. I changed the way I dressed. I changed where I got my value because I wasn't in control of it anymore. And I was then looking for value again from outside, and I fell apart again. And it was like, why is this happening? Yeah. And it wasn't as bad. Like I'm definitely, like, I've been humbled. When you go through something, when you hit rock bottom, you're humbled.
Yes.
And so I didn't have to go through all of that again, thank God. But what I went through was just realizing, like, this is, again, I find myself not being a leader, trying to be a leader and going, why? And the influence that I had was still great, and I still was able to love on people. So that's what I really wanted to do, was be a light and love on people. But I was going, why am I so damaged? And then that's when I left that environment, I went, I am an empty cup that is pouring into people, and I have nothing to give back. And when you have an abundance, you're able to pour into people, right? So I needed that abundance. So how am I going to get that abundance? And so that's when I really looked into, like, how am I going to fill that? And people do it different ways. They have God fill their cup. They have podcasts fill their cups. They have, what you're doing, like different things to where that they can really be whole. So when they're going to people, it's like,
it's not there.
They're whole again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so interesting that you even, I think, share that, because I feel like people would not assume that about you.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't assume that and you're young. I mean, truly, right? Like, when this happened, like, when you, especially this last part, when you talked about, you recognized that you're doing this again. This is like a pattern. It's
a pattern.
And now how do I change that?
That's a great way to say it.
How old were you?
When I realized it was a pattern?
Yeah.
Last year.
So, I mean, like, it's so young, young to really change that about yourself.
Right, yeah.
And what do you think happened, or what were you open to that was so apparent?
Yeah, so first of all, in my 20s, like from 28, I would say I've gone through like 8 years of counseling, intense counseling. Okay. And so that can really go, like, that can really identify, I've visited stuff from my past. I've gone through like patterns of behavioral. I've done all the personality tests. Those really help me, because I realize one little thing about me is that I'm a vacillator. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
And so that is either good or bad. And if things are not perfect the way you've designed them in your mind, which I'm very creative, right? So
Uh-huh.
they should be a certain way. Then everything's like basically, to shit.
Well, I think I'm a vacillator.
Yeah. So, okay, like let's say I go to a concert and I buy front row tickets,
Uh-huh.
but I look to my right and I see that someone else is center stage and it's like, how come I didn't buy center front row?
Yeah.
Or if I really want a certain dinner and so we go to this restaurant for dinner and my favorite meal is off the menu,
Oh my God.
the night's ruined.
Yeah.
You're a vacillator.
I mean, probably
But
too much.
Yeah, but see, when you're aware of that, though, you can go, I don't know why I'm like this. You can actually identify it and go, I don't know why I'm doing this right now. How am I ruining the moment over,
yeah.
the noodles
Nothing,
that
right?
I want
Nothing.
not on the menu? How stupid. But when you go, oh, this is actually my personality, then you can take yourself out of it and go like, that is what I do. And this is an unacceptable behavior right now.
Yeah, like I've been doing a lot of self stuff, right?
Yeah.
Lately, it's part of the reason I wanted this podcast because I really realized everything that's helped me has literally just been someone's story.
Yeah.
Like learning they went through this and how did they, and maybe I took a piece from it, right?
Right, yeah.
And
oh, that's so good.
like what I learned actually about this, didn't learn that word, but it was about HSPs, highly sensitive people.
Uh-huh.
And so
I've been told I'm highly sensitive.
yeah, so it's like it's like sensitive in that way, like we all
Yeah.
think. Like it doesn't mean people are crying left and right. It just means that you're so aware of people in the room. Like I always talk about, like when I was a kid, I would watch for people's or for what was not being said. So with friends, with family, they would talk, and I would listen for what was never being said because I knew that's probably what they meant.
Yeah.
And so it was all like in my head though, right? Like I'm so sensitive to like, did I do okay? Is this okay? What do they think? When I'm worried about a bad situation or an intense conversation I have to have maybe the next day,
Crucial
like coach
conversation.
someone,
Yep.
I will stay up all night and go through every scenario I could think of on how that conversation could go,
Yeah.
just so I could be prepared.
Right.
And so it's similar to that, like if I have a plan and it's supposed to be that way and it gets
Doesn't
ruined,
happen.
the
Yeah.
day is over.
Yeah.
So with that, knowing that highly sensitive person
Right.
aspect to it, which is
Yeah.
similar to I think what you did,
Totally.
it really did change me because that's the unique thing about a highly sensitive person is that they're not just sensitive. They're sensitive also by being aware that they're acting in a way that is probably not appropriate or it's not a way that other people understand.
Yeah.
So you're fighting both sides at all times.
Right. It's a intense self-awareness.
Yes.
Another thing that helped me is I actually did go through a leadership training,
Mm.
and it's guiding by asking questions, and it taught me a lot about myself also. I've always wondered if I'm an introvert or an extrovert, and actually, because people don't believe that I am an introvert, but introvert just means where you recharge.
Yes.
But what I found out, and I didn't know this, and my friend who leads the courses was like, Risha, hands down, you're an introvert. Like, don't even ask this question anymore. And I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, you're super aware of everything around you.
Yep.
And here's the thing, is you don't realize that other people aren't thinking the way that you do. And actually, my brother and I are exactly like this. We had a conversation, and it blew our minds how much alike we are like this.
Yeah.
But we're in a room with 100 people, and we're so sensitive to everything that they're feeling because it's just like we are very intuitive.
Yep.
We're very like perceptive. So it's exhausting.
It's empathetic. Like that's what you are.
Yeah. So when we're in the room, we're feeling all their feels, and then we're wondering how they're receiving us. So
Constantly.
I'll go to a networking event and I'll go to bed. My head hits the pillow, and I'm not going to sleep. I'm going, oh my gosh, when that person said that important thing to me, how did I respond? Did I respond the right way? Are they wondering? They do not even remember meeting
don't.
me.
Yep.
I mean, they probably do, but they, you know what I mean? Like it's like they don't.
It's tough. Like,
It was said and
tough.
it was over.
Yeah.
But for us, for you probably, you're going, did I use the right word? Is that
Constantly.
person? Yeah.
Constantly.
And it's exhausting and it's stressful. And it's also that critical mind. It's that perfectionism. So, but being aware of it. And then what's really helped me, because you and I are so much alike, what's really helped me is to go into a room and go in there with purpose.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I stay on track a little bit more. I don't say something that I'll regret. I don't drink too much wine. I'll have a glass or two because I'm going there with purpose.
Yeah.
I'm not just going there to have fun and let loose, you know?
No, I think it's about being aware. It's
Yeah.
about recognizing it. And then I feel like something I did without knowing and then learning now is figuring out the aspects that were good. Like, because it's not all bad.
Right.
Like knowing both things or looking at both sides of whatever, even if it's critical and not critical, you can get a different angle towards something.
It's
Like
wonderful.
yeah, like you
It's a great
problem
gift.
solve in a really great way that
Yeah.
other people can't problem solve.
Yeah.
And I think like that's what I've relied on for most of my career is like
Right.
I can figure out a puzzle, right? Like that's what this is, right?
Yeah.
Life, it's a puzzle.
Right.
Like I can piece these together for people or for myself, even if it's tough, right? Like because it is tough for us.
Yeah.
Even if it takes a night of going through all those conversations.
Yeah.
But in the end, you can be better prepared.
Right.
It's now the challenge, and this is even what I'm working on now, is like, how do I balance that, right?
Right.
Like, how do you say, I accept that I'm this person.
Yes.
This is not good aspects of it. Here's some positive.
Yes.
How do I be that person without losing myself, right? One way or the other.
Right.
Because you don't want to lose yourself.
Exactly. And I think that one thing that's helped me is to have extreme grace for a lot of people.
And talk to me about what
So-
extreme grace is.
So extreme grace to me, I guess it can look for
Yeah.
other people, but it's really like I have to really empathize with them. So if somebody messes up, I make excuses for them because I can't. I need that grace for me, and I need to have that grace for me, and it's really hard. I'm very critical and very hard on myself.
Yeah.
But if I go through life being hard on them, it's gonna point right back to me again.
sure.
And so when I think in this career, I see a lot of realtors that are hypercritical and almost mean. Like, oh, they had a, they said street instead of way on the escrow instructions, and it's like, get freaking over it.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever made a mistake? And so, but I used to be that person, like like freaking out about stupid things. But when you realize, like, everybody's human, everyone's gonna make mistakes.
Yep.
I call it give a little bit of room for human error because we're all
Totally.
human.
We're all human.
And I do, when people hurt me, I have to make excuses for them. And because, or it doesn't even have to be that extreme of when they hurt me.
Yeah.
But definitely, I mean, if I'm going to get through it, I have to make excuses for them so that I can, not be angry about it.
And is that something you think you learned? Like that's how you decided to let go of anger?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And is that like everything I feel like we do, right? Is it
Yeah.
good or bad? It's both.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it can be dangerous because
Yeah.
it allows people in that you don't think, you have intuition, and my intuition is strong. And there are some times where I will even hear, do not say that. Like, I just feel like my spirit's like, don't say that. And I still say it. And then I regret it. It doesn't make a bad impact most of the time.
Yeah.
It's really minor stuff. But it's just like, I know that I'm going to regret what I'm saying. Like, words are powerful. Even if I'm just talking to myself.
Yeah.
Like, don't own that. There's certain things where I don't know why, this happens when I'm representing clients sometimes, where I don't know why it's like, hey, don't do this. And I can't even give you a solid example. And I won't do it. And then I find out later why that was important. Like, it's like a gut feeling about somebody or something, and I can't really say why, and I won't explain it. I'll just say, like, oh, we're just not going to make that work this time, or we're just not going to go there.
I did that all the
Yeah.
time in
Yeah.
real estate. It was always during negotiations.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Constantly.
Like, they're actually
get a
not
feeling.
calling us back because they're talking to someone else.
Yeah.
Like there was always that.
There's always that
happening.
gut
Yeah.
feeling. And but then I will tell you, when I ignore that intuition, when I give too many excuses for someone, or when I'm going into business with somebody and I know the character of that person and I give them excuses and I still go into business with them, that's hard. There's
It is hard.
a lot of mistakes happen there because it's like, it's not a good idea. I already knew it wasn't a good idea, and I ignored my intuition.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful with who you're making excuses for and why you're doing it.
But you also, I think, on that same coin, like have to give yourself like a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
Because that same mindset is, they did something, but I knew better, so
Yeah.
I shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
At the same time, they still probably shouldn't. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so it's still.
That's
it's-
true, too.
it's-
Thank you.
Yeah, like I, like have gone through tons of crazy things, right?
Yeah,
I feel like I probably had a similar 20s.
Yeah.
So like.
You and I are so similar.
I
It's
know.
crazy.
And it's hard because I just remember every time I talk about it,
Yeah.
or which rarely happened, I would think like, well, it's that was my fault. I put myself in that position, and that's what happens. Like
Yeah.
I can't be upset about it.
Right.
And
But then also you put yourself in that position. But like you said, those people
it's
shouldn't have
there-
done that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like you have to give yourself a little
You
bit of
do.
grace. So,
Yeah.
I mean, This is insane because all we do is just go deep and deep and deep and get lost.
I know. I love it though. This is so good.
Yeah, I just think like we got to know a little bit about you and a little bit of piece of you, I should say, like that no one maybe knows.
Yeah, I don't put that on my website.
Yeah. But I have one last question.
Okay.
And it is, what piece of advice do you think that you'd give that 20-something Reshia today?
I think it just falls back into really awareness, and not just self-awareness, but awareness of how your actions impact others and how your interactions impact others. I think that a lot of people do things without going, how is that person going to respond?
Yeah.
And there needs to be a level of self-awareness and awareness of your surroundings.
Yep.
And an awareness of who is responding to you and how they are. If I would have known that in my 20s, oh my gosh. Like, I want everybody to know that. And I actually didn't realize that until we're talking now.
But it's like it's like what we talked about, right? It's that knowing there's a me, us, a them, and then a we.
Yes.
And it's that awareness that
is.
what I do affects you.
Right. But it goes so deeper. It goes so much deeper. It's like, it's even just the way that when you walk into a room, who you say hi to. Mm-hmm. If you walk into the room without saying hi to someone and you walk in there grumpily, you're gonna impact everybody in that room.
Yeah.
But you're just thinking about you had a bad day. Just stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, Reshia, I could literally go on for hours.
I know. I want to keep going.
But thank you so much for being with us today.
Definitely.
I'd love to get to know a little bit deeper with you.
Yeah.
So I'll see you next time.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning in, and thank you to Reshia for being with us today. We learned so much great info, and info just like today is what we're going to be bringing you every week. So make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and we can't wait to hear from you.